Okay, hi, this is Paul Slackis. We're actually going to talk to a leading mind, I love this, in business growth for 30 years in Silicon Valley. That's in California, and venture capitalist, Philippe Bouissou. Hi, Philippe, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Paul. How are you?
All right, good. You're looking good. And
You too.
hey, I love it. So you're in California, sunny California? Is
Yeah,
it
it's about 60, 68 degrees, blue sky, no wind. It's perfect weather.
Aha, all righty. And I'm in the snowy New York. We got about 10 or so inches of snow, and it's slushy at this point, a little bit of it. But if you go in Central Park, it's gorgeous. No.
Yeah.
We're going to talk, there's something that's I think is a good thing to start this with. You wrote a book. It's called Aligning the Dots, the new paradigm. I don't say it that well, to grow any business. How do you say that word? Para,
Paradigm.
paradigm, right?
Right.
Do you know, like, if you say a word three times, or you say the title, Aligning the Dots, the new paradigm,
Paradigm.
paradigm to grow any business, the new paradigm to grow any business, only by the third time I say it will people remember it. And that's an advertising trick. That's why they show these ads until you're like, your head is ready to fall off.
Yeah, and they repeat the calling number 3 times for that reason.
Exact reason. This is the advertising. So actually, I knew how to say it. I just wanted to promote your book better.
I appreciate that.
You have a question in here, and I think it's an important thing. There was one question that I saw that someone said that I might want to consider asking you. I hardly ever ask the questions, but this one said there's 11,000 business books or something like that that come out each year. Why should I read yours? Right?
Well,
A question.
It's a great question. There are many, many business books about all kinds of topics, but I found very few of them are truly disruptive, bringing a fresh idea, a fresh perspective, reframing a problem, addressing a problem with a novel solution. Crossing the Chasm was an example of that book that was published in 1991, very successful book. And I try to introduce a new way to think about a problem that pretty much any business person has. And that problem is, I'm waking up on Monday morning at 8 o'clock. What do I need to do to grow my business? It's a deceptively simple question, but it's really, really hard to answer. And I believe that what I try to do is introduce a completely new way to think about how to address that question and what to do, which is fairly orthogonal to the traditional ways of doing it. And I'm hoping that this book, is unique and profound, and I'm hoping that it will help many entrepreneurs and business leaders.
So what I also liked about that thought here, and about what I read about what your thought process in business is that I would say was confidence. Was that from the CEO level down, or from the CEO alone, that if you're saying, this is a good book out of 11,000, you have some confidence in what you put together, and some direction in what you put together. Mm-hmm. And I hear from what you're telling people, and you'll tell us more so how to go about things like that. If they don't have clear direction, I thought I'm seeing here. I'm running a company, I own my company, okay, 100%. Right. Either I got my act together, or I have enough people around me that'll help me with my act, but I have to have some kind of, if I can't be in the kitchen, if it's too hot in the kitchen, then I should get out. Right. I have to be able to make a decision, right, on what should happen. The buck stops somewhere. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes. I think the conviction I have, I cannot tell you if this book is good or not. That's not for me to tell. That's for the readers. But what I can tell you with conviction is that the book introduces a new way to think about that problem, because it's never been done before, as far as I know. And it's a whole new way and a new perspective to solve that mystery. Is like, what do I need to do to grow faster? And it's very data-driven. It's very prescriptive. It's not, theoretical thing and philosophical thing that many business books have. It's pragmatic. There's 20 case studies, and it's like it really tells you what to do.
So let's discuss a example,
Mhm.
case study example here of how they move forwards.
Yeah, so for example, if you look at Zoom, everybody has been, we're on Zoom right now, everybody has been
We're looking
using
right now.
Zoom lately. And this is a company that has a tremendous success. I mean, it went public last year. The current market cap right today is over $100 billion. And so why is Zoom so successful? And the reason they are so successful is because they have perfectly aligned their business with their target market. And the target market is you and I talking over a video call, and it could be a family or a business meeting. But the alignment between what they do and the market along four independent axes is very, very well realized. And that's why they've been growing so well. And that's why this company, has the kind of market cap that they have today. So it's understanding, those four alignments that we can talk about that really makes the company successful.
So let's talk about them in a couple of seconds more, because I am using it and I know a little bit about them, very little. The only thing that I'm unhappy about them is that I didn't invest, because I'm not an investor type of person in the stock markets. My uncle said, if you can't afford to lose the money, don't invest.
Right. That's good
And
advice.
I listened to him. Honestly,
That's good.
I never made a lot of money in the stock market because I never invest. I question whether to do it. In any case, I'm still here. What I found, that a couple of things that they do that, I think in a business you have to figure out how there's going to be some revenue.
That's right.
I think people like that, especially
Yes.
anybody time you go on the stock market. So
Yes.
for example, here with Zoom, all right, and I'm living it, so I'll say it. And I think it's just as an example. We can talk here. We can talk here for free using Zoom. If we want to talk here longer than 40 minutes, we have to pay for Zoom. If we
That's
want to
correct.
talk here and we want to have more people on this call, 100 or whatever, we have to pay for Zoom.
Yes.
If we want to use Zoom on here, we can get on a Zoom interview call here, all right? You can get on that. But if I want to record on here, this is king, if you
Yeah.
ask me.
Right.
This is king. This computer thing is, what, am I going to schlep this around the world? This is the king. If I want to do this and I want to record and I want to be the administrator, I can't do it.
Yes.
You have to pay.
Right.
So I guess sometimes a business has to have some limits so they can stay in business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the idea is that the revenue is generated because you are transforming value into dollars. I bring value to you, you look at it and you estimate the value is there, and the value is aligned with what I'm asking you to pay. There's a good alignment between the pricing and the value. So in the case of Zoom, they want people to have a taste of what the product can do. So it's a freemium business model where you use it for free, you try, but there's limitation like the one you pointed out. As soon as you cross those limitations, you have to pay. And Zoom knows that your need is above the threshold, therefore you would be willing to pay because you're basically recognizing the value right there. And that's the business model that they use.
Okay, so that's an example in the book, right?
Yes.
And is there anything else we can learn from Zoom at this moment? Because they are doing so well. And in various ways, they also are making it simple for the world to communicate with each other. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes, but there were many, and there are many competitors to Zoom. So the question is, well, why is Zoom winning? Why are they better than, WebEx and Teams on using Microsoft and BlueJeans, which is another company offering those kinds of video calls? There's many companies. The reason they win is because they are better aligned with their market. And what I mean by that is really four alignments. One is that the pain of the customer and the claim, which is what Zoom is doing, the expression of what they are doing, are very aligned. I want to have an easy video call with you. I don't want to download a piece of software. I want it to work. I want to be able to click on a button to record. I want to be able to add people. And so the ease of use is there. The second thing is that their messaging and the perception of who they are very much aligned. It's very easy for me to explain what Zoom does. I don't have, it's not complicated. The third thing is that it's the alignment between the purchase and the sale. If I want to buy now because I'm interested, the transaction is frictionless. It's very easy. I put my credit card, I buy the account, and I'm on. And then the last one, which is my favorite alignment, which is the alignment between, well, let me tell you a story. I spent 3 years at Apple. I worked for 3 years at Apple. And the last year, I worked directly for Steve Jobs. Now, Paul, I am sure you wonder how I lost my hair, and now you know the answer. And there are a few lessons I learned from Steve, but one of them was that after I left Apple, I came to the realization that there is only one business on this planet, only one business. And that business is the manufacturing and delivery of delight. When you buy a product, you have a certain delight expectation in your head. As you consume that product all the way from discovery to disposal, that delight expectation has to be met. And so it's this, the fourth alignment is between what I expect in terms of delight level and what I receive. And if you look at Zoom, you know, the delight in terms of the functionality, the way it works, the seamless, experience is that there's a very, very good alignment. So the four alignments is the pain and the claim have to be aligned, the message and the perception have to be aligned, the purchase and the sale have to be aligned, and finally the expected delight and what's delivered have to be aligned. And I would argue that Zoom is extremely well aligned along those four axes, more so than all their competitors, which is why they are number one and they are worth $100 billion on the public market today.
So the term that had an older guy like me grew up with was customer service.
Yes.
That's customer satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
The customer was always right. Even in the TV business that I've been in, CBS, PBS, I'm making TV shows for 40 years.
Yeah.
It never matters who the producer is. It doesn't matter even who the talent is. It matters that that person sitting on their couch is happy watching a television show, or what do?
That's right.
In the old days, now they go, they don't even know what they're watching, and they turn you off, right? Yeah. You have to serve your customer, right?
That's right. But again, if I go on a CBS show, if I go on 60 Minutes, my expectation of what I am going to consume is very high and very well defined. As I watch it, as I consume the experience, that expectation clearly has to be met. Otherwise, I'm going to stop watching. So the customer satisfaction is really across the entire experience, from the very first time I'm exposed to the product or the service, all the way to when I get rid of it. I call that the disposal phase. And at every one of the steps, including service and support, my expectation has to be met. It doesn't mean my expectation has to be high or low. It just means it has to be met.
Let me ask you another question. You make a company, but what's extremely also important, seems to me, is what they call the back end, that experience for any customer. Somebody calls and says, I'm not happy with Zoom. All right, there is somebody out there that's not happy with Zoom, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they want some way to communicate. Today's day and age, talking to a human being is like, forget about it. I think they forgot that there's human beings on Earth, but some companies still have it, but most are maybe chat with somebody, so on and so forth. So what do you think about that scenario in business nowadays, that we've taken away that human opportunity for us old timers, or maybe young people young people I don't think want to talk to anybody,
but at least they want to text to somebody.
They want to talk there. They want some communication. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think the idea of first of all, every business is going to have at least one and sometimes many unhappy customers. And it could be unhappy for a variety of reasons. The product broke into the transit and I opened the box and it's broken. Or it could be that, the product doesn't do what I expected it to do. It could be a variety of issues. The most important thing is not necessarily to find a solution to that problem right away. The most important thing is that people want to be heard. They want to be able to express what the problem is. People are reasonable. They don't expect the problem to be solved magically in 5 seconds, but they do expect to be able to express. So if they cannot express their pain or their problem, then it makes the pain even harder. And so companies that don't understand that are hurting. Zappos is extremely well known for being able to stay hours and hours on the phone with anybody who's calling the support line. In fact, there are documented calls that lasted like 12 hours. And so Zappos was completely opposite to most companies, where most companies says, well, if you are a customer service person, your goal is to finish that call as quickly as possible. Zappos was saying, if you're on a call with a customer, your goal is to stay as long as possible. You need to hear that customers, you need to do anything you can to help that customer. And that's why Zappos has an amazing, success compared to many other competitors.
Now they had that, and God rest that young man's soul.
I
Uh,
know.
uh, they had that because he himself was I'll put the Taiwanese guy. I put him under a spiritual mindset. His whole company was built around this um, customer service, around this positive mindset within the company.
Yeah.
Almost a spiritualness to
Mm-hmm.
running. And I grow up in the shoe business, so
Mm-hmm. Oh, you did.
a spiritualness of running a corporation. So let's talk about that, because whatever we talk about, I feel is sort of in your book, because when you align the dots, there's a lot of dots in a business, right?
Yes.
I got a couple other questions that are like this back end part, but if you align the dots with your people first, and so on. So how do you get to do that? It's not such an
Well,
easy task.
yeah, and it's a very important aspect. So the book, there's really two facets to this alignment equation. One is my business aligned with my target market, the kind of people I want to sell to, my ICP or the ideal customer profile? And again, there's those four axes of alignment that I described. That is what I call the external alignment. Now, if you know what to do to externally align your company with the market, that's good. But if internally now your organization is dysfunctional and misaligned, the execution will not work. So you may have a great strategy and you know how to align your business outside with your target market. But if inside people are not aligned, they will not execute and it's going to be a mess. And so the notion of a why in the company, the notion of a purpose-driven company, a mission-driven company, which was Zappos was amazing at, that really helps rally everybody around an idea and a notion and a mission. And when they get up in the morning, they know why they get up. They know why they take their car, not nowadays, but they know why they go to work. And I think that's really, really critical.
I'm just going to ask you one more thing, and I could really talk to you for a long time, because I love this kind of corporate world. I'm having come from corporate myself and having my own company 35 years. The one interesting area in the company, or even before you walk out the door to tell people you have created Zoom, is what they call the back end, the back end administration. Do I have enough machines to handle success?
Right.
Do I have enough people that can run those? Not it's like a football team. It's not the quarterback. It's the guards and the tackles that are going to keep the quarterback from getting sacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And am I prepared with the back end? How does the company make sure that they have that back end, enough machines, enough people that are equally as important as the CEO? Because if they screw up,
That's right.
screwed up. How do they go out? How do they prepare for that?
The only way to prepare for that is to understand and manage the demand. So Apple is really hard. And when I was there, when I was working for Steve and the team there, we really struggle to do forecast. It's like, okay, we're going to build this new machine. It's going to be a great machine, a great product. Are we going to manufacture 1 million or are we going to manufacture 50 million? And that it's a very consequential question, because you have to invest in raw material, you have the whole supply chain to align, you have to align the number of people, you have to make sure you can deliver. And it's really hard to forecast. And in fact, we very, very rarely were right in time. We always over forecast or under forecast. So I think it's better to start with a small aperture and saying, okay, I'm going to target those customers. I'm going to tell them they are special. They're going to have the product first. And then I will make sure they are really fully delighted. They can talk to their friends and be happy. And then as my production capability or my delivery capabilities are becoming greater, then I'm going to start to open up and selling to the other. But if you don't carefully manage that whole process, it's actually a disaster, and you're definitely destroying shareholder value, because people are like, well, I ordered this product, it's not there, or I cannot talk to them and I want to do something, or I get into the stadium and all the seats are full. I cannot watch the baseball game, or what is wrong? And that's a really big issue. So you're absolutely right. This is a critical aspect, and it's not easy.
You got a ton of good stuff. You got more issues and knowledge than me. You're doing a great job. Congratulations with this. Let me ask you one last question, and we'll set up another time we can go for it. We're involved with the World Peace Day, International Day of Peace, and it's the United Nations Day, September 21st. And I've asked a lot of people, what does peace mean to them? So Philippe, what is peace for you?
Well, to me, peace is being respectful of other people's ideas, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts. I think it's perfectly okay to have somebody who has a different view. And I actually think it's healthy, and it's bringing those different views to an organization, whether it's a company or an organization that creates value. But just being respectful. And what I mean by that is really listening without judging. It's like, what is this person really feeling? What is he or she saying? What is it that I don't understand what they're saying because I come from a different world? And we live in such a fast-paced world that we forget to listen. And we need to change from being an alligator, big mouth and small ear, to an elephant, which is huge ears and very small mouth. And I think if we do that, and if we are thoughtful about that, then I think, we'll be more at peace, and we'll have a better world. And I think we need to think about that.
All right, merci, monsieur. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much, Paul. Really appreciate it.
Okay, I appreciate it as well.
And I wish you a good holiday season.
A good holiday to you, by far. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.